All right, we're back talking why or why not today. And the question for why or why not is, should your athletes or should you be running long distances as part of your training program. All right. So, first and foremost, running and cardiovascular exercise, whatever form that may entail, is amazing and great and should be included in your overall health program. Meaning, I want to live a long, healthy life, decrease my risk of heart disease, decrease my risk of obesity, decrease my lack of conditioning. Okay? All of those are reasons to incorporate some form of cardiovascular conditioning, whether that be swimming, cycling, running, hiking, anything else you can think of that elevates your heart rate for a sustained period of time. Okay? It's good for you. It's pure and simple. Now, question is, why or why not for long distance running for athletes? Athletes who are performing in a sport, whether it be growing up, youth sports, high school sports, collegiate sports, or professional sports. So we've already established that running in and of itself is good for your cardiovascular fitness. Okay? But do you need to be doing it to get better, or should you be doing it to think that you're going to be performing better because of it? The short answer is this. Running long distances for athletes is only important if their sport involves long distance running. Cross-country running, guess what? You need to be good at running. Soccer has a lot of components of long distance running. Biathlon, skiing, might want to go long distance skiing, but running would be beneficial because it would be a change of pace and still have some cardiovascular benefit. Okay? Now, volleyball, softball, baseball, football, those sports are all quick burst. In reality, it is almost rare for most of the positions to achieve a long distance sprint and definitely not a long distance paced run. It's simply not what the sports are requiring. Okay? So for volleyball, baseball, softball, tennis to some degree, running long distances are only acceptable if you're trying to say, hey, I want to be able to run long distance better. But that's not your sport, right? All right. So why? If you are trying to establish a good aerobic base for your sport, meaning I have an aerobic component to my sport, which we already mentioned, sports like soccer, to some degree basketball has a little bit of a long distance aspect to it. Okay? Not as much as soccer, but it does. Okay? Basketball is a little bit more longer conditioning, but short burst because of the frequency of the stoppage of play. All right? Soccer has less stoppage of play, longer field, more consistent movement. All right? It is good for running if you can clear your mind as a means of, we don't give enough credence to activity as a mental wellness approach. There are plenty of people who go for runs or who do many activities to clear their head. Mental health is very important. And if you run to clear your head or to mentally make yourself feel better, great, do it. It serves its purpose. Okay? That purpose is not necessarily your mental or your physical sport preparation, but mental health is vitally important for an overall performance. And most importantly, for your own mental health. Okay? It does burn calories. If you have an athlete who is overweight or comes in fat, let's say it, doing a ton of cardio, I don't like saying a ton, doing some cardio will help them to burn calories, although fixing their nutrition is probably your first step. Making them play into playing shape is important, but then burning off the extra calories without breaking down their body might have benefit for long distance running. Okay? All right. And then running in and of itself is athletic. You can improve your running technique, your arm drive, your skills of being on your feet. So it will translate to some sport more than, say, swimming, which, unless you're swimming, doesn't necessarily translate to being on the ground or out of the pool, so to speak, right? So swimming would be a worse choice than potentially, say, running if you are a soccer player, okay? So on the spectrum of choosing it, it's a better choice than other options, okay? Now, why not running long distances? If your sport is a speed component sport, it doesn't necessarily prepare you for getting better at your sport. You don't want to be running slow and constantly preparing your body to move slow if your sport will require you to move quick. If you remember back, if you're old enough to remember back 20 to 30 years ago when sports performance training started coming about, we took a bodybuilding approach to it, and we started doing a lot of curls, a lot of hamstring curls, a lot of leg extensions, and we started getting injuries because we were teaching the body to move slow in a bodybuilder specific style workout. And then we found out if you teach the body to move slow, it performs slow, and then when it needs to move fast, it shuts down and gets hamstring pulls, bicep pulls, shoulder injuries, okay? Teach it to train fast so that it performs fast, okay? The component of running doesn't translate to the component of sport that are fast burst. Volleyball is 3-step burst generally. You can say, oh, well, this play went longer, but generally, if you're not getting to a ball within 3 steps, you're probably not reaching the ball. Baseball, most defensive plays, the outfield is a little bit different, but most plays are 3 steps or less for infield, right? Think about it. How far does your shortstop generally usually range and get to the ball before it's by them, okay? Outfield is a little different, but if you're not at your full speed within 3 steps, you're probably not going to be very fast and or get to that ball and make that play, okay? Also, you should be at your full speed within 3 steps for getting down the line, for beating out a ground ball. All right? So we don't want to do running long distances because it will teach us to move slow or train our body to move slow. It doesn't necessarily translate into the sport performance, and it doesn't necessarily build the components of what we're hoping to do in a short-term, limited schedule ability training protocol. Meaning, we don't have all day long to work out. You have other obligations, you have family obligations, you have school obligations, you have practice obligations, you have skill development obligations, all while trying to fit in an extra workout of performance training to help you perform better. So we can't just be spending a bunch of time at our stuff that isn't necessarily the priority. All right, remember, we have to prioritize certain things. One thing we do with our programs, with our online and in-person clients, is we filter out stuff that would be beneficial but wouldn't necessarily be of utmost priority because we do have limited time. Now, during the summer, when they're not necessarily in school as much, they're not playing, for winter sports who are off in the summer, we have more time and more program space available, so then we can establish that base. Also, based on in-season or off-season programming, you can establish an aerobic base, which is a reason why, but before your season, you would be a why not, because it doesn't make the most sense. All right? So hopefully this all makes sense. This is our why or why not. If it serves the purpose of your performance, it's a why. Why not? If it doesn't serve a purpose of your sport, probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you're trying to drop a little bit of weight, and establishing that aerobic base is a necessity for you and your athletes. All right? That's all I have for today. You guys go out, be awesome, be amazing. I'm Spencer Aiken with the Stronger Together Performance Academy. Thank you.